Could you, any of you, help me understand what sunshine rules, if any, you all are under?
Mr. Dunaway, you want to handle that one?
Yeah, thank you. I'd be happy to. The board operates under an open meeting rules, and those rules can be provided to you on request. With regards, when you say sunshine, you operate in the sunshine, I assume you mean under the public records request under statute 119, and in that regard, we do not. So it is a Florida not-for-profit corporation, which operates under Florida statute.
Okay, so you are allowed to have individual side meetings on your own without the rest of the board being present. Is that correct?
Are you inferring that we would have a quorum to be meeting on the side and making decisions?
Yes, I recall that not long ago, there was reported in the newspapers that I've forgotten if it's 2 people or 3 people met together and made some decisions and sent out an email to members of Holly by the Sea Golf Course, changing it to public, I believe, at that time. And as I understood it, the rest of the board knew nothing about that.
Right.
And I was wondering, how are you able to do that? You should all, I would think, know what's going on all at the same time.
I can address that issue.
Would you like to? Yes.
So with regards to
Who's speaking? Oh, you, okay, thank you.
So with regards to action of the Holly Navarre Water Board, the board can only act when it is seated and has a quorum. So no actions of the Holly Navarre Water System Board, that is board action, can occur without a quorum. So that is what is occurring in this meeting. Now, as you have heard that there were reports of committees, there are board members who had committees who do meet with staff. And as Director Campbell mentioned to the new board member, if one of the other board members wants to attend a committee meeting, so for instance, if Director Campbell is meeting on the Eglin project, they cannot have meetings unless there is less than a quorum present. Now, to answer your question with regards to that had information regarding the club at Hidden Creek, the club at Hidden Creek is a separate entity from the Holly Navarre Water System Board, and it has its own organizational structure.
So it was not part of this board that made that decision?
The club at Hidden Creek is a separate legal entity from the Holly Navarre Water System Board.
Okay, I do understand that, but what I had read, I had kind of understood that it was part of your board that made that decision to send the email out.
Unable to answer your question because don't know exactly what decision, but if you want, we could answer further questions if you want to clarify that.
Yeah, I guess I'm another confused person. I'm not entirely understanding that because it sounded, but what I recall reading in the newspaper was that a letter went out saying it was now going to be a public course, blah, blah. Members didn't know that, and the rest of the board didn't know that. So I'm trying to understand who did make that decision to send that.
All right, again, the decisions of the club at Hidden Creek are made by the entity that is the club at Hidden Creek.
So it was nobody here?
The club at Hidden Creek has 3 board members, 2 of which are board members of the Holly Navarre Water System.
So
One of which is
you serve jointly?
correct.
Okay, and can I just know who those people are?
I want to ask Dr. Peavy to help out.
Yes, I think to clarify the misunderstanding that you're talking about, the decision that was made was not made by the board. The board empowered the CEO of this company to make decisions for the benefit of that asset. The decisions were made, the course has always been a public course. It's never been a private course. It has members, but it's certainly a public course. The decisions that were made, there was no email sent out. It was a letter that was sent out in reference to the memberships. But that was a decision that was made by myself and the general manager. I had the authority, and it was clarified in the last 2 board meetings that I took the decision that I had the authority to make.
Okay.
It was
So
not this board.
It was not a
members.
requirement that you report back to this board.
I'm sorry?
It was not a requirement that you fill the rest of this board in on it?
The board were informed of the decision after the fact, that's correct, because I had the authority to make the decision.
Okay, all right. So you are allowed, that's one, I'm sorry. That was one instance then with that being a separate entity. Are you allowed at all to ever meet privately without a quorum? Is that
Yes.
possible?
Yes,
Who's saying yes? I'm sorry.
yes, that's allowed.
Yes.
Someone over here. Oh, okay, I'm
Yes.
sorry. It's hard for me to follow the voice. Okay, I thought it was down further. Okay, so that is possible. It is allowed. So you could have, say, 2 or 3 people meeting and discussing something about the water board without the rest of the people knowing. That's legal.
That is correct.
And that is legal. But again, I see where you're going, in the sense though, we have to come together to make the decision as a board. This body is the one, we wound up making the vote. Even if 3 people got together and they tried to make some motion to do something, it would not be binding.
But they can discuss it. They can get together and say, what do you think about such and such? And
Yeah.
then bring it back up to you guys. That's legal. Okay, all right, thank you.